Good night.
On World News Tonight this Tuesday, Vice President Gore will not be facing an independent counsel to investigate his fundraising activities. The government issues another warning about the danger to some men of taking the anti-impotence pill Viagra. Where have the big trees gone? Why did the government close down the unit that investigates crimes in the national forests? And why is a company that has never earned a profit one of the hottest stocks on Wall Street?
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening. We begin tonight with Vice President Al Gore. Vice presidents don't often lead the news, but Mr. Gore can breathe a little more easily today. That's a political assessment, not a medical one. The Attorney General Janet Reno has decided not to ask for an independent counsel to investigate whether Mr. Gore engaged in illegal fundraising activities in the 1996 election. Here's ABC's John Cochran.
It was a day of high-stakes suspense, and for hours, as she went about other business, Janet Reno gave no hint what her decision would be. She knew that ruling against an independent counsel would leave her open to charges that she had a conflict of interest, that she was currying favor with the White House. As he waited, the vice president knew a decision to ask for an independent counsel could devastate his presidential hopes and encourage other Democrats to challenge him for the nomination.
Non-appointment of an independent counsel means that Mr. Gore doesn't have to go into the campaign with a cloud over his head of an investigation, a cloud that can always start raining.
At issue, did the vice president lie about his fundraising role in the 1996 campaign? Gore freely admits making calls from his White House office to raise money, but said he thought it was legal because it was so-called soft money to help the Democratic Party, not hard money to directly benefit the Clinton-Gore campaign. But this summer, a memo from a former Gore aide turned up, suggesting that the vice president knew the party would divide the money 65% soft, 35% hard. So, had Gore lied? Today, the Attorney General in a written statement said no, that the handwritten notes alone are not sufficient to warrant a conclusion that the Vice President made a false statement. Just as she knew would happen, some Republicans were quick to blast her.
And they keep cutting this into such slivers that literally you can't get to the real big issues that are the issues of corruption. I'm becoming more and more convinced we just have to take these matters out of the hands of the Attorney General.
The Attorney General must still decide whether to ask for independent counsels to investigate other issues connected with White House fundraising. But tonight, the Vice President at least knows he can enjoy his Thanksgiving. Peter?
Thank you very much, John Cochran. In Washington tonight, the independent counsel Kenneth Starr says that his office could have done a better job of handling Linda Tripp, the woman who taped Monica Lewinsky. In an interview with ABC's Diane Sawyer for 2020 Tomorrow, Judge Starr said he did not know at the time that Tripp was also working with lawyers in the Paula Jones sexual harassment case against the president.
Linda Tripp leaving your office and going home and talking to Paula Jones' attorneys that night. At the very least, is this control of your witness?
I think we could have had better control
of
her. Yeah, in fact, I think in retrospect, it would have been a better thing to have said,
You really had no idea that she was going...
My people did not. My people have assured me, and I credit this, that they had no indication whatsoever of any involvement.
And, Mr. Starr said, when they did learn of her involvement with the Jones case, his office took steps to protect their investigation. In Washington today, there was a major announcement from the Food and Drug Administration about the impotent drug Viagra. The FDA is going to require new labels with expanded warnings about the risks of taking Viagra for patients with a history of heart trouble. Here's ABC's John Martin.
Last summer, Jerry Howarth's husband, a retired Marine with heart problems, died in her arms as they made love.
He said, "I love you," and then he started shaking. And I said, "Mike, are you all right?" And he never answered me.
Howarth says a doctor who knew her husband's heart condition and his medications had given him Viagra.
I do think it contributed to his death. I think that if he hadn't taken the pill, he would have been alive today.
In today's announcement, the FDA said the drug's manufacturer is adding to the Viagra label, urging caution for all cardiovascular patients. It said a series of deaths, Heart attacks and reports of hypertension caused the action, which will be announced in a letter to physicians tonight or tomorrow. There were 69 confirmed deaths in the first 6 months after it was introduced. In August, the American Heart Association and the American College of Cardiologists raised an early alarm based on reports of patients who contacted cardiologists like Thomas Grayboys of Boston.
These are individuals who perhaps 6 months ago we would have given the pill to, but now at this point in time we're not giving the pill simply because it's too dangerous or too potentially dangerous.
A public interest medical group filed 2 petitions with the FDA calling for urgent attention.
If any of these people took the drug and died and would not have taken it if there was better labeling, then that's the real tragedy.
Pharmaceutical companies always review drugs after their introduction, but the irony of today's announcement, said one medical observer, is that the very people most likely to suffer from using Viagra were not included in the original clinical trials. John Martin, ABC News, Washington.
Still coming up on the broadcast tonight, change in Russia, the Middle East, maybe even in the House of Lords.
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Brought to you by DirecTV.
55. What'll it be?
We'll take some rice and get some farf too.
Yeah.
Now you can choose which teams you see every Sunday with DirecTV and NFL Sunday Ticket. There's up to 13 regular season games a week.
Price check on farm.
Hey, Brett. Hey, John.
So stock up on all your favorites. NFL Sunday Ticket. It's not on cable. See it on DirecTV. So what are you looking at?
Get the last 6 weeks of NFL Sunday Ticket free when you get DirecTV.
Searching for an echinacea to help support your immune system? Nature's Resource knows you should look for an echinacea that contains chicoric acid and polyphenols to get results. And unlike some, Nature's Resource guarantees the potency and purity you need. Make your herbal resource Nature's Resource. Follow the knowledge.
Only Afrin has special formulas for nasal congestion,
allergy congestion,
children's congestion,
and now for immediate relief of severe congestion. Afrin, breakthroughs in breathing.
In Russia today, the largest outpouring of public grief in a very long time. And unlike the old Soviet days, people today said they genuinely felt the grief. Thousands of people turned out for the funeral of the liberal politician Galina Starovoytova, whose assassination last week stunned the country. Here's ABC's Jim Wooten.
No one quite expected this outpouring of grief for Galina Starovoytova, but she was no ordinary politician. And these days, in the new Russia, her funeral was no ordinary farewell. Thousands waited hours in the bitter St. Petersburg cold to praise her life, to mourn her death. All our hope is in people like her, she says. Inside, her fellow liberals and reformers remembered her as a champion of human rights, a clear voice for democracy, an enemy of extremist left and right. They are murdering our friends, said Anatoly Chubais, a former deputy prime minister. They want to scare us. It won't work. What isn't clear is who they are. Such murders are almost commonplace here, with a variety of suspects behind them, including organized crime. Few are ever solved. What's different in this case is the response. Her death seems to have sent shockwaves through a country thought to be hardened to such violence. I've been crying for 3 days, she says.
I remember the day when John Kennedy was assassinated, and I had the same feeling.
At her grave, near those of Dostoevsky and Tchaikovsky, as her friends and family said goodbye, her son called her legacy trust. A rare political commodity during her life. There's probably less of it in Russia now. Jim Wooten, ABC News, Moscow.
Grief in Russia, pride in the Middle East. Today it is hard to overstate the sense of pride that Palestinians feel. The Israelis have at last relented, and the Palestinians have finally opened their own airport in Gaza, their own international airport. ABC's Gillian Finley reports tonight from Gaza on this very important symbol of freedom.
Many of them had never even seen an airplane up close. Today they celebrated as the planes came into land one after another. For Palestinians, this airport is a symbol of their independence and their nation.
It means state. Airport means state.
Until now, a Palestinian living in Gaza who wanted to travel to Jordan, for instance, just 110 miles away, faced a daunting trip. First, a permit from the Israelis. Many people don't qualify. Then the checkpoints. One to get out of Gaza, another to cross the border into Jordan. That trip can take an entire day. Soon, Palestinians will be able to fly without Israeli permission in just over an hour.
Before this airport, we are under Israeli occupation. Now we can go directly to the world without any Israeli intervention.
While the Gaza International Airport may be a symbol of Palestinian sovereignty, there are some powers Israel has insisted on. The Israelis will decide which airlines can take off and land. They will also monitor Palestinian security checks. Perhaps the most emotional part of today's celebration was the arrival of the first of 3 planes belonging to the fledgling Palestinian Airlines. For months, the planes have been in Egypt, waiting for their home airport to become a reality. Today it did, and so did the dreams of many Palestinian people. Gillian Finley, ABC News, Gaza.
We said there was change a lot of places. In London today, change in one of the oldest institutions in Western government. Queen Elizabeth opened Parliament today, and for the first time, the Lord Gentleman, that man just descending and turning and bowing to the Queen, was allowed to turn his back on her. He's never been able to before. He's always had to shuffle away, still staring at Her Majesty and sometimes practically falling down the steps. There is new evidence today that John F. Kennedy lived to regret a very important decision on Vietnam. In 1963, Mr. Kennedy sent a secret message endorsing a coup against South Vietnam's then leader Ngo Dinh Diem. Diem was killed in the coup, and on tapes released today, Mr. Kennedy says he should never have encouraged it. Mr. Diem's assassination sowed the seeds of deeper American involvement in the Vietnam War, and 3 weeks later, Mr. Kennedy himself was dead. In a moment, a new tool and a whole new understanding of stormy weather.
T-bone, T-bone, looking for a T-bone, chewy, meaty T-bone at the big T-bone store. There's one. No, that's not one. Over there. No, over on the shelf. Oh, too green. Wait a minute, there. A whole package of little chewy, meaty T-bone steaks. I'm waking up.
Mama brought you some T-bones dog snacks.
Made with real meat, so dogs think it's a T-bone. Resealable T-bones, brand from Purina. Dogs don't know it's not a T-bone. It's a T-bone.
Number 4, please.
This is just too good to keep to ourselves.
I know.
We have got to let the people know.
You're right. Everybody, I have an announcement. 10-10-3-2-1 is now better than ever. How's that? Now you save 50% on calls over 10 minutes.
Half off 10 minutes?
What about calls to Mexico?
International calls over 10 minutes are half off, too.
Jimmy, you forgot something. Double fries and make it fast.
Which of these 2 computers is perfect for you? The one that was built 2 months ago, or this one, which hasn't been built yet? Gateway wants to ask you some questions first. How fast do you want to go? Movie buff? How many kids? Any future Rembrandts? The perfect computer should be exactly what you want it to be. Starting at $999 all the way up to your dream system. Call 1-800-GATEWAY and get more out of the box.
In the Northwest today, more than 300,000 people were without power after a storm that rushed through the region yesterday. There were 90-mile-an-hour winds in Washington State and Oregon, and heavy snow in California and Nevada. Forecasters are predicting more bad weather, which brings us to the forecasters' tools, their newest tools. Here's ABC's Bill Blakemore.
The weather battering the Northwest will be a lot easier for scientists to understand because of a powerful new American-Japanese satellite now sending back pictures. The satellite, nicknamed TRIM, lets meteorologists see into storm clouds as if they were 3D video games.
We've seen hurricane tops and clouds not like any other that we've seen.
TRIM's X-ray view of killer storms Mitch over Honduras and Bonnie over the Caribbean discovered towers of heavy rain grouped like Manhattan skyscrapers. They discovered that whenever a very tall rain tower formed, this one's 11 miles high, the hurricane suddenly intensified.
Now, what this rainfall provides us is a signature of the fuel supply that drives the climate engine.
Scientists never knew before how to predict when a hurricane would intensify. This may save many lives. This new imagery is also helping explain and predict the heavy storms already hitting the West this fall. And it's teaching us something brand new about the likelihood of lightning damage from storms. Scientists always thought lightning could be predicted by the amount of rain. TRIM shows it cannot. It found 95% of lightning is over land, but over the oceans, with just as much rainfall, there's almost no lightning. Bill Blakemore, ABC News.
On the money tonight, investors on Wall Street were selling stock today. After yesterday's record high, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was down more than 73 points to close at 93.01. On the NASDAQ, stocks were down 11.5 points. The economy continues to grow. The gross domestic product, which measures all goods and services, was up 3.9% in the third quarter. Growth is being driven by consumer spending, which has a lot to do with confidence. A new ABC News poll finds consumer confidence is close to a 13-year high. More people feeling good about their finances. However, bankruptcies are up more than 5% to a record 1.4 million filings in the 12 months ending in September. And a note about resistance to change. The U.S. is now the only industrialized country where the number of checks being written is actually going up. 65 billion checks written this year. People in other countries increasingly feel more comfortable paying bills by computer or with a debit card. And it is official, America Online is paying $4.2 billion to buy Netscape. When we come back, a closer look at dreams and potential on the internet.
We ease life's pressures. We help make lives more memorable. We're the people of Pfizer. We develop medicines that make the world a better place. We help people love one another. We help keep families strong. We take care of best friends. We spend over $2 billion a year on research. That's why we believe we'll introduce more new medicines for more diseases than anyone else. At Pfizer, we're not just looking for cures for the future. We're going to find them. We know in our hearts the only thing incurable is our passion. Pfizer, life is our life's work.
The North Star system. Performance and technology that set Cadillac apart from every other luxury car in the world. Now experience the difference during the Cadillac Performance Drive with the 1999 DeVille, the world's only full-size luxury car with the power and agility of the North Star system. Now just $499 a month. A powerful way to set yourself apart during the Cadillac Performance Drive. See your Cadillac dealer today.
Some things can never be taught in a classroom. You won't find them in any textbook. And with Fixodent's long-lasting hold, you'll be ready, no matter where the lesson takes you. For long-lasting hold, Fixodent and forget it.
This holiday, don't just decorate your tree, bake it. Pillsbury Holiday Cookies have a Christmas tree shape inside. Just slice them, bake them, and eat them. For a cookie that tastes
tremendous.
We're going to take a closer look tonight at why there is so much buzz about some of the internet stocks. Let's be clear. It is not unique for a company that has never made a profit to be a promising stock. Not at all. But as we take a closer look at Wall Street this evening, notice what these internet companies listed on the stock market have been trading at since the beginning of September. America Online, Yahoo, Amazon.com, and Excite, they are all doubling or tripling in stock value like nobody's business. If America Online hadn't split its stock 2 for 1, it would be over 180. And here's the important point. America Online is the only one in that group earning a profit. The question is, why are the other stocks doing so well when they aren't showing any profit? ABC's Robert Krulwich tonight on Amazon.com.
What is going on here? The stock market right now says that Amazon.com, born just 4 years ago to let you order books through your computer, is now worth $11 billion. That's big.
That's as big as Nike.
What, Nike, the giant sneaker company?
Which is shocking because Amazon doesn't even have any earnings at this point and won't until the year 2001, I believe.
So why do so many people want to buy this stock?
People love these stocks. Anything that has .com or net in its name, it goes like hotcakes.
Particularly if it's the leader, the #1 internet bookseller, because it is widely believed on the internet that if people know who you are, and they know how to find you, and they know how to use you, once you become a habit, then you've got a great advantage over your competitors. Amazon.com has 4.5 million customers. Its closest online competitor, BarnesandNoble.com, has only 930,000. Amazon.com has added 1,200,000 new customers in the last few months. Barnes & Noble, only 210,000. Clearly, Amazon.com has momentum now. That's valuable, but to investors, there is another advantage. If Barnes & Noble, the stores, plus their new warehouse, want to sell an extra, say, pile of books, they have to find a space, then redesign that space, and hire a staff, and all this costs money. If Amazon.com wants to sell the same exact number of extra books, all it has to do is add a few extra phone lines and a handful of people. One way to explain the extraordinary success of leading internet businesses this week is this is a big vote for businesses that are light on their feet. The lighter, the better. And if they aren't making money yet, a lot of folks believe that once they begin to turn a profit, they are going to make a fortune. Robert Krulwich, ABC News, New York.
Still, without making a profit, it's hard to figure out if companies such as Amazon.com, which lean to the future, are overpriced. Warren Buffett, one of America's most successful investors, said if he were quizzing business students on internet companies, this is what he would do for the final exam. I would take an internet company and say, how much is this really worth? And anybody with an answer, I would flunk. When we come back, stolen timber and your tax dollars.
I've loved investing all of my life. It allows me to think about all the new creative things going on around me. I come across companies with great new ideas. So what do? I jump onto Schwab.com and I can get all kinds of information. I can get earnings projections. I can get what the company's done in the past. I can get their balance sheet, something about their management. I think the internet is sort of the final empowerment of the individual. It allows me to have a complete, comprehensive amount of information to allow me to make a very informed decision. If you're going to be a sage investor, a thoughtful investor, someone who really knows, you can draw down this information when you want it, in the form that you want it, the customization you want it, as fast as you want it or as slow as you want it. It's about freedom. Now you're in control.
Great meal.
Uh-oh, gas pressure. What now? What else? Gas-X, with the most powerful medicine for fast relief. Nothing works faster.
Hey, want to go for ice cream?
Gas-X, the power to fight gas fast.
Why do I rent from Enterprise? Very simple. No stress.
We'll be happy to
They arranged to pick me up free, so I don't have to ask anyone for a ride. See? No stress.
Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up. After tonight's 90-minute NYPD Blue event, you'll know why Jimmy Smith's Last Blue will be the one you never forget. NYPD Blue, ABC tonight at 9:30, 8:30 Central. Viewer discretion advised.
Finally from us this evening, it is your money, another chapter on how the government spends, or in some cases loses, your tax dollars. Tonight, a crime that costs millions of dollars and takes a toll on the environment too. This is about trees cut down and stolen from national forests. ABC's James Walker reports from the Pacific Northwest.
In Central Oregon last year, a national forest was looted.
Where are the big trees? The big trees that should have been left there are gone.
Paul Dewey, an environmental lawyer, says they've been illegally cut down.
What we should be able to see as we clear this off is blue paint at the base of the tree.
Which would be a Forest Service marker that this tree is okay to cut.
Right. And there's no blue paint on this, clearly none.
The Forest Service knows it was ripped off. According to documents obtained by the Government Accountability Project, the Forest Service found that 7 trees here had been removed illegally. But an experienced investigator examined the site for ABC News and discovered much more. He asked not to be identified.
I found hundreds of trees that appeared to be removed without authorization. A lot of them were worth $1,000 to $1,500 apiece.
That's tens of thousands of dollars stolen from the federal treasury in just this one area.
In 1993, the Forest Service did set up a special unit to investigate the big organized schemes to steal timber, and it worked. The team recovered millions of dollars and put people in jail. But within 2 years, the Forest Service abruptly shut the unit down. Investigations that were underway have stalled.
Right now, there is no means in the system to tackle those type of investigations.
The Forest Service refused to talk to ABC News, but has said it cannot afford a special timber theft unit. Jim Marr, a former federal prosecutor, says historically, the Forest Service has just been too cozy with the logging industry.
If you want to be more accurate, you could say the Forest Service timber management was largely in bed with many of the timber companies.
So how much money have taxpayers lost? Estimates are as much as $100 million a year. That's a lot of your money. James Walker, ABC News in Central Oregon.
Tomorrow, why is the government spending your money to build a road for a man already worth more than $800 million? That is our report on World News Tonight. Don't forget Nightline later. I'm Peter Jennings. We hope you have a good evening, and that we'll see you tomorrow. Good night.
Tomorrow, 'tis the season to buy toys, but why do they cost so much? They're some of the most popular ones with kids, but should you buy them? Watch ABC's World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source. ABC News, now always on.
ABC Tonight, let's talk turkey.
Hi, Michael J. Fox here. You know, for their Thanksgiving episodes, most shows would just have their star get his hands